Good afternoon, Miss.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Miss.
Wala man, can you hear me?
Yes, miss.
Yes,
Oh,
Miss.
yan nga lang mo. Kuan mo ha. I am using only my cell phone. Okay, there is something wrong with our Wi-Fi and tech connection. So I will just upload what I will be discussing now. Okay, I cannot on Wi-Fi connection. So I will discuss the test that we had last time. Dili na ko ka kuan, dili ko ka. I cannot open it. It is there in your. I to recall ang inyong sa to quiz assignment pa to. Because I'm just using my cell phone. I told you we are going to solve for the expected value, which we know that our expected value is also the mean, right? We are going to get the mean not with the formula that we had before, but it will be in terms of a table. Now, when I check your works, I found out that there are some who are not using or who are not placing it on the table, which will be very difficult for you to give the answer. So you are given the data. All you have to do is just to complete the data, to complete everything to solve for the expected value or the mean and the variance. Now, if you place your data, you will have a data of your x, you have a data for your x, and then you have a data for x, your p of x. So you have your x, p of x, then you have x, p of x. Okay, we'll take one by one. And, and also, it is also correct. It is also correct if you will have it horizontally or vertically. And it can be it can be horizontally or vertically as long as the upper part is correct. So if it is done horizontally, just we have the x, the p of x, then p of x, then we have x times p of x, then we have x minus mu squared, x minus mu squared times p of x. Now it is very surprising that you have the correct answer, but then you have the wrong formula. Ano na wrong man ang formula? It is because when you place the above part of your table, katong vertical, kargado na sayop og kuan o represents answer for the expected value and what is this, the variance, and then variance standard deviation, are those who are making it vertically, pero parehas naman unta, pero the title, the upper part is different. So this is what I had observed. Now, I told you already that your expected value is your x multiplied by p of x. For each of the samples, you are going to get the summation, or you are going to add everything of the x p of x summation of x times p of x for the expected value, which is equivalent to 4.27. Okay ra, gamay ra na sayo pa na. Ang kaning variance, which is equivalent to sigma squared, if your answer is correct but your formula is wrong, sorry na lang, you have no credit. And if your variance is wrong, your standard deviation is also wrong because our standard deviation came from our variance. Oh, so unsay sayop aning inyong variance. Ang inyong variance is the last row if it is horizontally. It is the last column it is if it has been drawn vertically. Ang inyong variance which is sigma squared is equivalent to the summation of x minus mu squared times p of x. Kadto there is a group, ha? There is a group, correct answer. Pero there is a group nga the variance was computed as with the formula of summation of x minus mu squared minus p of x. Wala mong ko maghatag anang formula ha. Uy, I did not give that one. So it shows that when you copy that one from your friend, unya, ang nahatag, ang pirmiro ni kopya, gibutangag minus, the rest that copied it, nanagay minus niya. It's very surprising. Why did you get the correct answer? Now, if you will have to subtract the minus p of x, it will not come out the same as the answer for the variance. So, dako kay milagro. It's very, and then this part here, you should have obtain this one as a perfect score kaya sa'yo na gyud kaayo. Pila na gyud pag-tabulate, you were given the x, you were given the p of x. Ang sunod ra niyo pag-multiply ra sa x of p of x. Inya i-sum up ninyo, mauna na siya ang mean or expected value. Padayon mo sa x minus mu, ikasunod, x minus mu squared, square lang ninyo. Then, ang imong x minus mu squared nga result, i-multiply nimo p of x, araw nimo tanan, you will have already the variance. And then the standard deviation is equivalent to the square root of the variance. Pulos correct ang answer, wrong representation. Do not expect that your work will be corrected. Pero most of these who were able to get the wrong formula are those who were not listening. Kaya nagkuan nag-record ba ko ani sa katsong mga nang-answer. Gipa-add ko ninyo kamoy akong gipa-add. I asked for the answer. I give a credit to those who answered. Nga ano maning kaning di na may mga grupo nga lain og formula, lain og paagi sa pagsud because wala maminaw. Mao na. So this is another way of solving for the mean. So in your test, I can ask you to solve for the what is this for the mean using the formula and using the table to solve for the mean. Dili pa ni na ko ihatag kay do na pay laing paagi pag-determine or lain sa pangalan sa mean o sa variance later on. So when I will give the test for this, I will have to ask for the different method of solving for the mean with the different names. So kinahanglan kani dili ninyo galagmin it is expected value. And then when we go on to the next topic nga lain na sa siyang pangan, then the next topic nga lain na sa siyang pangan. So that is the time that I will give a quiz of the mean, variance, and another addition. Pero ang kaning mean of variance, doon na dyan siya mga laing paagi as we go along the way. Nakasabot mo? Okay, so we have already, because we have already this probability of x, if we have the probability, we can always apply the probability distribution. Now, in our probability distribution, it is the representation of using a graph. Usually, it is a histogram. And then, it is the same way as how you made your graph before in your basic statistics. Now, we will go on to our continuous. Ang kani solution, ani, i-upload niya na ako sa LMS kung maayon among Wi-Fi. I-upload ko ninyo para maka-follow up mo again sa solution and then maka-compare mo sa inyong inyong scores ngano nga na score mo gihon ani. Kay there are some akong himuag comment, di kapuyan ako parehas og comment nga parehas og mistake so wala na comment ang uban. So you will know as to where your mistake is. So dili pa nako ni ma-upload kay walay hinay ang signal na mo giayo pa. So we will go now to the next row. That is what I told you. There are two types of random variables. So the first was the discrete random variable which we had already determined. It is what is this represented with a kanang finite or infinite with a certain reason nga na infinite siya. But it is usually a finite that is measurable or countable. Now we will go on to continuous probability distribution. I think part of this topic is already uploaded in the LMS. Wala lagi na ako matiwas. So I will just discuss. I will just read it from my documents. Okay, I cannot open my LMS. So we have a continuous random variable, which is different from your discrete random variable. When we say continuous, you have already an idea nga continue can take an infinite and uncountable number of values. So parehas ay it is always infinite pero an uncountable number of values. Like for example, in our finite or discrete, we can have it 1, 2, from 2 to 3. Pero kung moingon lagi itag continuous, we can have it 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. So it is with a smaller values in between the range. So you can have 1.1, you have 2.3, and so on. Na ay mga in between. Mauna ang sa temperature sa thermometer, we can consider it as continuous because sometimes our temperature is 26. Pero sometimes if it is beyond 26, you can have it 26.3, 26.7. So it is considered to be continuous because it is not exactly at that point where you will have it as kanang finite. Okay, continuous random variable is obtained by measuring. That is, example, the amount of milk produces on a given day can be 1.5 liters, it can be 3.25, like that. It is with a decimal because it is a range from 2 to 3 or it is a range of values. Now, continuous probability distribution has a range of values that are infinite or uncountable and expressed as probability density PDF, probability density factor. Atong discrete sa may itong ano to. If we call this one as PDF, probability density factor, atong discrete sa may itong ano to. Your discrete before? How do you call it? Last time, ay, natuloy ko. It is there in your, what is this? In your LMS? How do you call it? Sambatan na to, siguro.
Wait sa miss.
Anybody? Kung sa ito nga ato ko kung ano to, probability distribution na. How do you call it? If you will have it in terms of probability distribution of discrete, how do you call it? So if we will have it in terms of continuous random variable and we are going to apply it as a distribution because we have a discrete probability distribution, this time we will have it continuous probability distribution. And then if we are going to apply it to a range of values for a continuous probability distribution, we'll call it a PDF. That is, it is expressed as a PDF probability distribution factor. Now, to find the random variable in a uniform continuous distribution, it is always an interval of a certain variable, interval of A and B. So A will be representing one variable, the other one will be representing another one. So to get the probability density factor, it will be in terms of the formula equals to 1 all over B minus A. Dili pa ko ang kahatag og example kay dili bala ay kanat I have it in the kuan lagi I have it. Wala na ko ma-upload ang kuan ani. So anyway, I will just upload this one so that you can make it. Probability density function of a continuous variable is given as f of x. So if you are having a probability, you may represent it with f or p. So f of x in range of AB can be obtained by the formula probability that is A, that is the first representation. A is less than or equal to x, less than or equal to B, that is equal to an integration, you have an integration sign from A to B, f of x dx. Diba mo sa inyong calculus? So you will have that formula. The probability of A less than or equal to x, that is less than or equal to B, that is equal to D, A to B with f of x dx. So we will just have the solution of this one only when I can connect it to my Wi-Fi. But in anyway, just to give you an idea, so that is what we are going to do next time. To give you an example of the continuous random variable or and the continuous probability distribution to compare it with the discrete random variable and with the discrete probability distribution. So we have random variables, duha ka klase. We have also two probability distribution applied to the random variable discrete probability distribution and then continuous probability distribution. There are two types. But usually, what we're using in the solution of the problem and applying it to in relation to other problems, we are always using the discrete random variable or the discrete probability distribution. Most of the time, 90%, you have the discrete probability distribution is used in your EMATH. Pero with respect to other, kung the same statistical analysis with respect to the IEs, when we call it IE, not EMATH 1 to 2, we are going to go deeper with the continuous random variable because they will be applying the EMATH or the IE EMATH statistical analysis for the IEs. They are going to apply it to the solution of their problems with a decision. Muna lahi ang simple part ra sa statistical analysis, ang ila is the deeper up to the deeper part of the statistical analysis. That is why they have two, 1 and 2 na statistical analysis 1 and 2. So ang inyo ang kuan lang, ang kanang murag mga simple lang nga part sa kuan data analysis. Now, so after I will give an example of the continuous random variable or continuous probability distribution, because we are after of the probability distribution, not with respect to the discrete random variable or continuous random variable. We are after of the probability distribution because our subject is statistics. Take note always that this probability distribution of the discrete and the continuous is always in the relation to the normal distribution. And what you have in your senior high, you went right away to the normal distribution. So maubita na, it is simpler in your high school because they are just getting mga parts sa lesson that we are going to apply in college. But then in college, we are going to have it deeper to ang inyo basic lagi na ito. So you have your normal distribution in your senior high. But when we go on to this probability distribution of discrete and discrete and continuous probability distribution, this is applied to normal distribution. Because if you will have the normal distribution, general na siya tanan. Under ani mauna ning kuan kani siya discrete to random variables probability distribution, you will have the binomial distribution, you have the Poisson distribution, you have the exponential distribution. Daghan kay ni silang mga distribution, but all of these are making use of the normal distribution. So unsa to ning atong normal distribution? This normal distribution is what we had been using, which is being represented by a bell-shaped graph. So bell-shaped. So kaning bell-shaped graph mao gyud gigamit even though you will have a different types of distribution. Kani good ang basis sa standard normal distribution, which is a bell shape. So, when we solve our problem, we will have to go back, to this bell shape, and then we will have to locate as to where our answers will be in the normal distribution in order to make an analysis. And remember that in your bell shape, one half of that one, you should locate one half. Kung tungaon ani mong bell shape, that will be considered as one half on the left will be equals to one half on the right. So equal na siya for the standard deviation that is just equivalent to 1. Kaya ang area sa left from the center is 0.5, ang area sa right is also 0.5. So your center for standard deviation nga imong i-represent din sa normal chord, you will have it at 0. You will have it at 0. So if it is for standard deviation, 0 ang center. To the right, you will have all the positive values plus 1, 2, 3. 1 standard deviation positive, negative 2 standard deviation positive, 3 standard deviation positive on the right. Sa left will be the corresponding equivalent that will be negative 1 standard deviation, negative 2 standard deviation, and negative 3 standard deviation. But then the sum of the standard deviation is just equivalent to 1. Now, aside from the representation of the standard deviation, you will have the representation of the mean. Yeah, you know that your mean is the central location of the data. Central location. So if you are given a data, ang sentro ana yun na represent sa center sa bell shape. So for example, our passing sa atong grade is 80. Kung ibutang na nimo sa bell shape, ang kanang center part that is the 80 which is the passing average. So 80 na. Ang imo nakuha 75. So it will be located on the left. 75. If you got it as 85, it will be located at the right. So if your grade is 75, wa ka kapasar. Kaya ang passing ana is 80. So you can see from 75 to 80, you can see as to how much effort you will have to do in order to reach the passing 80 ang average. Kung 85 sad, if it is 85, ayaw sad pag-relax. Ang relax lang ko kay total kung decrease og 80, pasar man lang gihapon ko. Mao man inyong that is your attitude. And if you will relax, ang possibility do ora ba ma-80 ang decrease. Ang 85 nahimo naman anong 79. Yang 79 is that a passing average? It is not a passing average. So that is what will happen always after getting the midterm grade. If you are passing, the grade is 3.0. If it is already points of 3.1 to 3 beyond the 3.0 nga passing, that is already a 3W, a warning. What is this? Ang kaning mga estudyante, ang ilag yung mentality is that if they have a passing grade of 3 for the midterm, mag-relax na sila, kay pasar na good sila. Ako sa 3W, pasar na, kay kwaon ng W, nahimo naman ng 3, which is wrong. How many students have I failed nga ang grado sa midterm 2.0, 2.2, 2.4, nga pagka-final sagbong man lagi. So mo na mo complain. Nga naman is nga nahagbong man ko nga akong midterm is 2.2. Nga naman di posible. Nga we are doing it averaging. So pwede kay na posible kay na mo. The more those with 3 will have to study more in order to get a passing grade. Dili ang 3 mahimong 5. Kay that 3 may possibility piyuda nga mas 5 if you will not do good after the midterm. Kay mao man ang mentality sa uban, pasar ko 3, sigurado na ni pasar sa finals. Siguro sa uban pero nako di ko na sigurado. Kay katugay akong ipanghagbo nga mga 2 point something, they are working students in sa UC. Working students niya. Ayaw mo pagsalig nga working mo, pasarli mo. Nga after the midterm, wala na, on and off ng attendance. So, pagka-finals, perfect. Imposible man sana ay finals, walay sudsud na after the mid. Nga, pagka-finals, 100. Kung na-discuss lang din na 100. So, if that is 100, nya, pila may total anang sa midterm to finals. Nga, lain man ang total sa quizzes, lain man ang kanang major exam. So after the computation of the major exam is 2/3 plus 1/3 of the quizzes and the rest, ana. After that one, 2/3 pa man gyud na sa 2/3 only and 1/3 of the midterm grade. Unya, kung imong midterm grade 3, nya imong kuan, pasar-pasar lagi diri kay na 100 man pero wala may quizzes. So when you add 2/3 of the final accomplishment plus 1/3 of the midterm grade nga 3, do you think you can get an average of 3? Dili na eh. Grabe to mga dos. Ikan sa after the midterm, wala na magsudsod. Isod na lang kausa. Wala pa dyan quiz during that time. Sunod, pag finals, oh perfect lagi ano ka perfect na niya. Kung magi perfect ng sinaw ng lubot ani sa likuranan, imposible kay nga perfect sila. So okay lang pero ang computer magyapon na namo. Pero what happened to this? Boom. So mo na doon na ayaw may kumpiyansa. You will have to take effort after the midterm because we are computing the grades and that the final accomplishment is 2/3 and 1/3 of the kanang midterm. Katulad itong pagbagyo, mo to nga, i-50-50 na lang, the final accomplishment plus 50% of the midterm. Kay tungod sa nahitabo pero walay no walay happening mo yun na ang usual nga kuan. So that is why I want you to take note of that. And in your case, simple naman kayo ng inyong kuan. I do not know, it is very simple. You are making it difficult because you are not following instructions. Nga no, waman mo ka-follow instructions. Nga, ingon naman ko ninyo, ang expected value or the mean is taken from the table. Sum ra gud adra. And the variance, which is sigma squared, is the last row of the table kung horizontal. Pila ra may pag-add ninyo. And it is very surprising why you have that value pero ang left side sa inyong kuan lagi ang inyong mga left side sa mga description sa inyong gibuhat is not x minus mu squared times p of x. Ang inyo x minus mu squared minus p of x. Wala man ko magkuan ka na no, nasayop na pagkopya. Ang usaw nakakopya na ibutang og minus. So ang sunod nga nakakopya, all the rest of the friends of that first one who nakaset wala kay makatan-aw nga nay minus, mao ni kopya, ang nahitabo mo na nahitabo. Ang katong uban mao na pero correct answer. So say gamay ra kay diferensya. Imbis times p of x kung walay sign, walay minus, is understood nga multiply na siya sa p of x. Pero nga mo tuwang di minus. Nay usa nga nakabutang og minus, ana mo na all the rest na say minus. Mo na niya sayop yung kansi nga wala na ko gikrade. Okay, in your continuous probability distribution, you have two equations sa katong akong giingon ninyo nga p, probability of p, the probability is equal to 1 all over b minus a. Wherein, for example, you will have probability of a random variable from the interval of 2 and 7. So, ang interval niya is 2 ug 7. Ang iyang first, kanang 2 is represented as letter A in the representation. Ang 7, that is B. So, for example, if I will ask you the probability of getting a random variable from the interval of 2, 7, ang inyong given will be A is equal to 2, B is equal to 7. So, when you use the first equation, it will be P is equal to 1 all over B minus A, and then P is equal to 1 all over 7 minus 2. So, to get the probability of that one, sayo na kay P is equals to 1 all over 5. Because that is just giving you the interval which is will be substituted to the formula nga P is equal to 1 all over B minus A. So, what you will get will be the probability of that random variable from the given interval. But if you will have a given probability function, PDF na nanay function, the representation will be f of x. So, f of x, and if you will have f of x will be x raised to the power of minus 2, that is the given. F of x is equal to x raised to the power of minus 2. If x is greater or equal to 1, kay minus 2 ng given, find p of x less than less than or equal to 2. So what will with an interval of 1 and 2. So you're going to find the probability of x less than or equal to 2. 2 ha, equal to 2. So ang iyang interval will be from 1 to 2. Kung wala ko mahatag ang nag-PDF or it is a probability function akong gipangayo, ang imong solution ana kung kuan lang siya, kung probability lang of the random variable, mao na function na. Kung walay function, probability of random variable ang gipangayo, ang inyong interval will be substituted to A of B. So you'll have P is equals to 1 all over B minus A. But if I will give you with a function, like for example, f of x is equal to x raised to the power of minus 2. That is the given. Pero the condition is, if x is greater than or equal to 1, find P, which is x less than or equal to 2. So therefore, the interval is 1 and 2. Right? Pero dili na nimo apply sa first formula kay na may function. So ang imong formula ana will be the formula that was given with a function. So you will use this formula kanang usa ka formula diha, second formula. Wherein it will be mani. You have the formula there for continuous random variable, which is not for with a function na. Let me see. Ang f of x pa. Isod magkainin ko ano. Cellphone. No, I cannot find it. Basta duha, we have two equations. Gi-mention bitan na nako ninyo ganina. Wala na din ako kalocate ani sa unsa ni. Sagsagol na ni. Lisod kayo ng cellphone gamiton eh. Basta you have two equations. We will be going back to this. Pero i-upload ko ni sa LMS. So you try to read this one again in your LMS plus the solution that I had placed for the quiz so that you can get track of what we did last time. Kaya maglisod man ko direct tanaw ani. Wala eh, I cannot find it anymore. Because I cannot open my LMS. I am just looking at my docs. 1 minus all over B minus A. Then you will have the you will have for this, you are going to represent your x because it is from 1 to 2. You will have to represent x with x raised to the power of minus 1 in a number line. Then you will have the representation of the minus 1 up to, you have the range of values from minus 0 to 2. Because what is given here is, if x is equal to, if function of x is equal to x raised to the power of minus 2, ang condition niya is if x is equal to if x is less than or greater than or equal to 1, find p of x less than or equal to 2. Mao na siya. So the interval between this one is between 1 and 2. Pero ang imong solution ani will be with respect to the functions, which I cannot see here in my one. So I will just go back to this one for the solution of the second equation. In the second equation next time, pero next meeting I will have to give you an activity next meeting. Dili murag video lang siguro or what, a pre-recorded lecture, because on Wednesday it will be asynchronous. Do you understand? Kay maglisod ko.
Okay,
Lisod
okay.
kay nga
Yes, miss.
gamiton.
Okay, ma'am.
Miss, ako
Hindi
i-repeat,
gamit
miss,
kay
kanang next,
cellphone. Yeah? Any
yes, miss, ako
question?
lang i-clarify, miss, no, next meeting no since asynchronous katarong video mo ang tan-awon.
Siguro murag video, tanawon ang video. And at the same time, I want you to look at kung ma-upload na nako to ang kani atong gi-lecture karon kay I was supposedly to upload it yesterday. Ang among 3 days ng among wifi nga wala makuan, kanang wala ma there is something wrong with the PLDT. I do not know. Walay signal nga hidom ko. This is the first time walay signal mo. Na ako na ang
Wala
kana
pa ba,
na.
miss?
Putol ba or what? So kung maka-upload ko ani, you try to look at your LMS for the dili sa liluan.
I see.
Nagsugod na ni adtong kuan Biyernes. Di follow up na maghapon. I was expecting it yesterday. Kaya na ako magikan sa but ay naglisod ko wala gay ko ron mo kuan sa badaghan ko wala ma-upload gyud na prepare na nako akong kung wala i-upload ako tong solution tong solution sa test sa test ba to asama ug kaning akong lecture karon and then kung ma-upload ko to nya taas-taas man sad to kung dili gali na ako ma-upload video ra akong ihatag nga link kay dili man ko di ko gusto mausik akong time kay nag-apas ko sa kung mahuman ako so karon di man ko maglisod ko ani karon do kumanad ani gamit og cellphone karon ra gyud maglisod ko nya di man mo sa tab na ko di gyud wala gyud ma-open muna nga kuan ako problema kay ko para pag di ko ka-check dili ko kan kuan unsa ni so next time I hope nga ma-home kuan ayo na to ugma o what karon ba okay is there any question class wala may motingo
wala.
kay
And so
mo-dismiss na
far,
lang
miss,
unta
kay medyo wala dili kay mi ka imagine sa discussion ganyan good miss kay wala
di
bitay.
jud ma-imagine dili
Lagi
jud
miss,
dili
medyo
bitaw hindi
confused
man
kayo
siguro
ba?
ko makuan nga di sa dili gyud ma-imagine kung dili to makita kilisod ba ninyo na ba ni formula pero di lang ko gusto nga moingon ko nga di ko mo klase kay laingan sad ko dili ko mamutang mo na nga bahala na ako na sulti basta anyway I upload ko man na yun sa LMS so you still have to makakita pa mo adto dili man yan
Okay,
wag tang
Ramis.
na to niya laan na sad
Okay,
okay ra
miss.
Okay, Ramis. Thank you so much.
sige mara
Gani
to
miss nga
okay
ni-discuss ka karon at least medyo na curious na mi ba unsa na sa ng next topic bitaw.
magilty sa taong kung dili ko mo discuss oy magilty ko bahala mo
Gali.
gamit ko cellphone di ba mo gamit o sige mo na to okay
Sige,
mo
miss.
na to class okay
Sige, miss.
bye
Bye.
Okay,
sige
miss. Bye, miss.
At least
Thank
bye
you, miss.
bye
Thank you so much, Miss. Bye, Miss.
sige
Thank you,
Bye,
miss.
Miss.
bye